Good afternoon, my name's Gavin Thompson. I'm paramedic for South East Coast Ambulance, NHS Trust, and I'm one of the IPC leads for the Trust. And this presentation is in 4 parts? 3 parts. Different aspects of IPC in the ambulance environment. And the first is a quality improvement project that I'm leading on to introduce tiger waste bags into the ambulance environment. Traditionally, because we don't have much space in the back of our vehicles, we only use one healthcare waste stream, which is the orange bags. And as you all know, hopefully, and you might not, this is the infectious waste stream, and we don't know the infectious status of our patients. So traditionally, we've steered towards the orange bag in the back of the ambulances. This waste stream is sent for high temperature treatment, which produces high levels of CO2, so not brilliant for the environment. However, 85% of all healthcare waste that's produced is non-hazardous and non-infectious. And so we need to look at, risk assess, and introducing the most appropriate waste stream for our clinicians to use. And this should be the offensive waste stream, the tiger waste stream. Last year in January, the NHS published the clinical waste strategy. As I'm sure you're all aware, I'll probably say that a lot in this presentation, my apologies. And the goals are to have 20% of hazardous or highly infectious, 20%, they all look yellow on there, don't they? The middle one should be orange, 20% of orange and 60% offensive waste. For those of you who are familiar with the HTM, the Health Technical Memorandum 0701, as it's a quality improvement project, I know it quite well now. That's the diagram that all healthcare workers should be able to easily choose where their healthcare waste should be put. So obviously that really isn't, whilst it covers everything, it doesn't cover specific areas, and being simple for healthcare workers to know what waste they're producing with their type of patient, a more simpler diagram should be used. But we also know that staff are not always brilliant at segregating their waste, and I'm embarrassed to say this is the big waste bins on one of our stations, and if you look close enough, I don't know how well you can see it from there, there's bag valve masks in there, lots of gloves, and in the far picture you can see coffee cups. So education of our staff is an important factor within this. In 2020 to 2021, I don't know why that year's ringing a bell, something was going on there, we produced a lot of waste. We produced 91 tonnes. Now that might not sound a lot for an ambulance service compared to other producers, but it's still quite a lot. And if I've done my maths right, that's the same CO2 as driving your car to the moon, which I know you all like to do on a Saturday. And that produces a lot of CO2. The amount has obviously come down as we're not going through the PPE to the extent that we used to be, but we still produced 57 tonnes in 2022 and 2023. So we're running a quality improvement project to introduce tiger bags. We're not removing the orange, they still need to use them, but we should be using tiger bags predominantly for our waste. As I said earlier on, the vast majority of our waste is offensive, it's not infectious. It's currently only in, as part of a trial in one of our areas in the Trust. Sorry, I should have said South East Coast Ambulance. We cover 3 counties, so we've got a massive geographical area, and it's quite a challenge to introduce anything into the Trust, as it probably is in any Trust. But we've got the added bonus of not being on one site or a couple of sites. We're spread across a very large area. So we're doing it in one area at the moment, and we follow the Lean Six Sigma quality improvement methodology in our Trust, which follows the DMAIC methodology, which is detail, measure, analyse, improve and control. And so with regards to these elements, this is a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the quality improvement project. The detail is that we want to introduce tiger bags and educate staff so they correctly segregate their waste. The measure would be that the main aim of the project is to see a decrease in cost. Now, orange bags are more costly to collect than tiger bags, so hopefully, even if nothing else happened, we would hopefully see a decrease in the cost because it's a cheaper waste. But with the education, we shouldn't be getting the coffee cups and the banana skins in the backs of the ambulances. We will perform analysis, we'll speak to the staff. We've already done some preliminary speaking to the staff about their knowledge of waste, their knowledge of why we only use the orange bag, what the orange bag is for. And sadly, unfortunately, a lot of our clinicians don't know why we do use the orange bag, why we've got the orange bag. They don't know that there are other waste streams available. So the education piece will be about letting them know why we're changing, because we quite clearly will probably get challenged on this. We'll talk about an element of process mapping, so we can actually see how they decide what to do with their waste, although that probably will be quite a short process map because we've only got one bin. So there is a bit of work that needs to be done with regards to that. And then in control, what we're going to do is once we find out any problems from the one site, we'll roll it out across the whole of the trust. And the measures will be continually monitored to check that we have seen improvement. Don't know if you're aware, the information I've been told is that orange waste bags, and it'd be interesting to know if you know this in your trusts, they don't weigh it. If you've got 3 bins for your orange waste, they say you've got 3 bins and the average of a bin is this, that's what you get charged for. And apparently that's the industry standard, and that's shocking. We've got no idea how much weight we produce. One of the secondary aims, and it will be difficult to measure, is by educating staff, and I don't know why I'm pointing there, the picture's gone, the inappropriate waste that's put through the stream won't go through that stream, they'll go into other waste streams, and so the weight will hopefully come down. But the primary aim is to reduce the cost. Whilst this, I'm sure it's not a problem saying it, this project is being run in Brighton. I was contacted by a hospital, which is actually local to me, Darren Valley Hospital in Dartford, by their waste manager, because they've done a massive piece of work in converting the hospital to predominantly use tiger bags and not orange bags. And so we've already been having meetings because they're looking at setting us up an area in the ED as we come in with the different waste streams for crews to make it easy for them to put the tiger bags and potentially packaging that we use in the right receptacles. This graph is their results of the changes that they've made to predominantly have the hospital using tiger bags, and I think you can see that quite clearly. The orange line at the bottom and the tiger bag on the top, that's massive. The figure that I've been given is they are saving £30,000 a month by transferring to this waste stream, and it includes their theatres as well. It's a massive piece of work that they've done. So what will our improvements be? What we're looking at, and it's difficult to calculate because of the way I said that they charge us for our waste, we are potentially looking at £26,000 a year. Not going to change the world, but a bit of an improvement. And also we'll save 100 tonnes of CO2, which if you don't drive to the moon, I know you will drive to Australia, it will save you doing that 14 times.
Hello, so I'm Adrian Hogan, I'm the head of IPC at South East Coast Ambulance, work with Gavin, and I'm here to talk about, have I pressed the button without knowing? Yeah. A new procedure that we put into place back in February. That says 2018, but it wasn't, it was 2016. So yeah, CQC came in and they found a few issues with IPC. One of the stories I like to tell is one of our paramedics at Brighton, back in the day when I became a paramedic, we passed and we were given 2 bags. One was an airways bag and one was our drugs bag. And it was our individual bags to keep with us for all time, you know. And in the airways bag, you had our intubation tubes. And we used to cut them to size, take them out of the packet, cut them to size, put them back in the packet and put them back in the bag for whenever we might use them in years to come. We don't do that anymore, you'll be pleased to hear, but you're seeing the whole presentation as we go along here. So they said you need to change the culture of the ambulance, you know, you need to get onto IPC. I was working on my own at the time in IPC, really annoying me now, laptops. And basically...
stand there, I'll see if I can fix it.
I'll stand here, you can't hear me because I've got a microphone here.
You've got a loud voice.
My IT guru, Gavin, will now work this one out. So basically what we did was we got a workshop together. So we got lots of staff from right across the trust. We got some of our IPC champions, we got some of our... Here's a technical wizard. Our IPC champions, we've got some of the ops managers, some of our mate-ready managers, and I brought them all together and said, what can we do? There's lots of things in the ambulance that you do in a hospital environment that our ambulance staff go, that's nothing to do with us, because we don't work in hospital. And I will touch on the main one, bare below the elbows. They don't like the term bare below the elbows because that's for hospital staff, it isn't for us. 5 moments for hand hygiene. Works in the hospital, doesn't actually work in the ambulance setting, the environments we're working in. So we started with the principles of how do we change some of the wording to the procedures we carry on, but making sure we're still doing the right procedure in IPC. So where we've got make-ready centres, where the ambulance goes in and it will get cleaned, it will get restocked, it will go onto the line and it will get sent out again for the next crew. It's called make-ready, so I will take credit for this one. I went, well, let's have an infection prevention ready procedure, because it ties in with make-ready. And when the workshop went, that's a good idea. Our clinical champion, our IPC champion then said, instead of calling it bare below the elbow, should we call it clinically ready? So the staff are clinically ready to go out and they're adhering to all the principles behind IPC. What do you think? So, where have we got to? We're on there, aren't we? No, still doing it. I'll just talk through it anyway. So basically what happened was with that, we implemented all these different changes. We put it into a new procedure, infection prevention ready procedure. And the intention was then to educate and train staff on an ambulance service procedure for IPC, rather than what the NHS tell us we should do, which fits with all of you guys in the hospital setting, but not us in the ambulance setting. So they started to come on board with it, and it seemed to work and what have you. A lot of the principles behind it were all about the ready part of it, and I don't know where we are now. So Gavin, at the time, what we decided to do was we'd put it into the chain of infection sort of infographic, because that works as well, and they can see if you're not one of these, then, you know, you've got to break the chain of infection. So, so we started at the main part, which was around the governance side of it and what have you. So talking about our policies and procedures, renewing them, changing them, making the wording more specific to the ambulance setting and the environment we work in, so that the crews came on board with us and when I get it, okay, I can do that now. Rather than bare below the elbow, you're calling it clinically ready. Okay, yeah, that sounds better for me. And it is just simple things, and I'm a paramedic for 37 years. Simple little things like that make us go, we'll come on board now then, because you've listened to us and you'll change stuff for us. So all the other competencies as well, what we talked about was the person ready side of things. And the person ready part of it are all our staff ready to go out and provide that clinical care? So have they had their IMS and VACs, you know? Do they know about PPE? Do they know all the other aspects around IPC and all the other stuff, sir? Is it working, yeah? Cool, where are we at then? So yeah, policies and procedures, all the governance stuff we put into place around that as well. So I got to that bit, didn't I? Yep. We've got the make ready part of the process, and again with make ready, what that is the vehicle preparation side of it. We've got a really good system in CCAM, I have to say. It was one of our previous directors put it in place. So after every shift, and that might be an 8, 10, 12-hour shift, the vehicle goes into the make ready system. It will get re-equipped with whatever's missing, and the vehicles are all tagged. They've got a green tag, so if the green tag's gone, they go, right, we need to replace what was in that drawer. They replace it, and they give it a clean as well, and they give it a good clean as well. They don't just sort of give it a spray around and what have you. So after every shift, the vehicle will go back out nice and clean, and we still encourage our staff to clean after every patient. One of the chief execs, when we introduced this, he said it's like a pit stop. You wouldn't expect a Formula One driver to get out of the Formula One car and clean it, and we don't expect our ambulance staff to do that. Me and Brian Pullen, my colleague at the time, fell off our chairs, picked ourselves back up and went, yes we do. Yes, we do expect them to clean up afterwards. After every patient episode, you know, the staff will still clean. So that's that side of it, where we got to now. And I did bring my glasses up. What's that one say? That's it, the person ready bit. So that's the health of the practitioner, looking at their sickness absent records and all the rest of it, along with their line managers, looking at the health sort of things that we need to with ambulance staff, doing the IMS and VACs annual flu programme. Unfortunately, we came second to East Midlands this year. Where is she, Liz? Yeah. But we got 72% of our staff vaccinated against flu, which was 16% better than last year, to be quite honest. So it worked. We offered them a cup of coffee from Costa Coffee, didn't we? So next one is protection ready. I can see that one. So that's the bit where we talk about the uniform, and you'll see what I've put in there is the jewellery. So that's your watches, your bracelets, your nails, and all the rest of it. And we call it person ready, stroke clinically ready, so that it's not BBE. There's no BBE in our policies and procedures now, but it is exactly the same. But they don't mind that because we call it something different. PPE, big one, as Gavin sort of said, you know, throughout the pandemic, they were adhering to PPE, level 1, level 2, level 3 through COVID. Now, they've gone back to their old ways of like, I got contaminated, were you wearing PPE? No. So we need to educate and re-educate around that again. And I don't even want to talk about the fit testing and FFP3 at the moment, really. It's one of those ones that we're trying to implement it. We've got powered hoods for our staff, but the trust have made the decision that we need to go back to disposable FFP3 and fit test our staff. Good luck with that. I'm not getting involved in that project. The next one again is, what's that one? What?
Hands ready.
Oh, hands ready. Hands ready. 5 moments for hand hygiene. And again, our IPC champion, Ken Slade over at Chertsey, he said, why don't we call it the 3 R's? So we got CBRN training when they say remove, remove, remove. All your gear if you've gone in CBRN. So it's remove, reduce, reclean. And again, that works because you go to a patient, wash your hands. You're removing whatever you've got in your hands. Before a procedure, you wash your hands again to reduce whatever you've got in your hands. After the procedure, again, do that. And at the end of it, again, re-clean, soap and water, hopefully at the hospital, re-clean the hands. And that works for them better than the 5 moments because they will come to us and say, 5 moments, it says this and it says that, and that fits to the hospital, but it doesn't fit with us. So similar little changes in terminology seem to help. And that one is the competencies, isn't it? So that, yeah, it's good, isn't it? Didn't even know I was going to do that because my glasses are over there. So this is around the knowledge, the training and all the rest of it that we need to do with the staff, and we need to keep doing it. We need to encourage staff to come on board with this. We've got paramedic degree courses at universities, and it's the same for everyone across England and the ambulance services, is we don't have input into the curriculum of the paramedic degree course, which is a bit of a shame because they do an IPC session at St George's University in London, and when I asked them, you know, what is it, and they said we get a doctor down and he talks about microorganisms and bacteria and fungi and all the rest, and it's like, does he talk about PPE and washing your hands? No, he's a doctor, why would he? So we need to do a bit of work with the universities around that. The idea behind all of this was to actually change the culture, the attitude, the training of staff by 2018. It's 2024 now and we're still working on it. So, you know, we are getting there though, and that's just a summary of what we're trying to do, and I'm hoping that goes over to Tomo.
I'm John Thompson, known as Tomo. I'm Head of Safety and IPC Yorkshire Ambulance Service. For the next 4 minutes, I'm going to talk about development of the implementation of the IPC A to Z. You've all seen the National A to Z. It's fallen out from the National Manual. Well, this is why we do it. As we've always spoken about, a lot of what you see out there that is provided to us by the government doesn't fit what we do for a living. Doesn't quite fit into the ambulance side. It's all acute focused stuff. Also doesn't fit for our pre-hospital colleagues either. So what we've realised that we need to do something. So we're looking at creating a to Z of diseases, but ambulance specific. Why we've done that. Here we go. National Manual, you go onto the website, you'll go in, you'll see the A to Z. It's lovely, it's really, really good. Okay, it's easy to follow. The tabs at the bottom. Lots and lots of pathogens are picked up on there, which is really easy to follow. Yeah, really good. I was going to pick up measles and pick it out because it's quite prevalent at the moment, apparently. But it is really easy, but you get into it, none of that on that top part, and this part here gives us indicator of what to do. Our staff sometimes, because of where they work, they need some guidance. That's really good if you're in an acute hospital and you can sit down and you're quiet and you've got a microbiology on your doorstep and all that good stuff, but we don't. Spoke about yesterday. Was anyone in the briefing yesterday? 14 ambulance services, that's done, and a couple of others. But 14 main ambulance services. But as you saw just now, we all talk differently. There's all different procedures. There's no standardised way of working. So what we've done with the A to Z is to start trying to standardise our approach, which because when it first started in 2022, I think, by that young lady over the back there who was talking yesterday, Deb was on her own, working with ACE and also doing other bits. We were all doing our own different things. Every trust has got its own A to Z, but they are different than everyone else. Different languages, different talks, different way of working. But when you're going cross-border working, so cross-border for us is working in Lancashire, because we're Yorkshire, we're different. Going down to East Midlands, yeah, it's different. And so when you're doing mutual aid, you know, something happens in London, we all go down there to play with them. Yeah, we do different processes, but we're working in their area, so it's really, really challenging. So we're trying to standardise what we do. It's going to take a little while, and we haven't put a date on this, like 2018. So we started to do some work with a small team, working on our own national A to Z, and it all comes off the national manual. So we're doing a lot of stuff from there, but we're trying to make it specific to us. So the first part of our A to Z at the moment is common terminology, which is quite good. And that's not just the way your accent either, because we've got lots of different accents. We've got colour-coded for hazardous groups, and that's a national approach. That works. At the moment, its current format, it's on a Word document, because we're just still working on it. But we've gone through, the small working group we've got together has been tasked to look at these pathogens. We've come together as a task and finish group to get them to make sure what we've got aligns with the national information about the pathogens and all the processes behind it. Right, next one is we've changed the top bit, this bit here, to make it more usable for ambulance staff on the road. Because often as not, they'll get a job come across on their MDT, which is there from control. You go into a patient that's got a whatever. You get there, it's completely different. We were talking yesterday about the dynamic risk assessment, getting staff to realise actually when you're going in and you start saying, oh, you've got pyrexia. Really? Oh, how long have you had that one? Anyone in the house ill? Yeah, I've got a daughter who's got measles. Yeah, and it's getting to start thinking about things. We're changing back to going from the level 1, level 2, level 3, which we did during the pandemic, which was great. It was very easy to follow, back to national standards, which is your standard infection control and then your transmission-based precautions and the same languages. And the ACE has got its colour-coded as well. So if it's greyed out, it's not used. If it's if the colour is there against a TBP, it's what the staff should be using. So that's what PPE, and hopefully they'll read it. They'll actually use it as opposed to, well, it's my. You know, we don't have to use PPE anymore, do we? Yeah. And this, the really important part of this is the back end of it, and this is talking about because as you know, you've got your what's the word? Notifiable diseases. They differ across all the devolved countries. But we work across border as well. So we'll work into Scotland, we'll work into Wales. We will sometimes go to Northern Ireland. Yeah, and they will come across to us. And the notifiable disease is different in each one. So the policy itself is indicated. So if you're doing cross-border working, if you're working in Scotland and you come across a pathogen, you know it's notifiable because or it might not be notifiable in your own country. That's why it's there. We're looking at the cleaning. Cleaning is really important because how fast can you get a vehicle out? Does it have to go back to station for a terminal clean? Does it have to go back? It's just a crew clean. So this thing will give the staff a really good indicator of what they should be doing. Yeah, because they'll get some patterns got to go out for a deep clean. Because I've had this on it. No, actually, it's your job. It also tells about transportation, are they going to, is it single patient carriage or whatever, and then the additional information which is prevalent to that person. What next? This is now we've worked it up. It will be shared with the next quality improvement governance and risk directors meeting, which is QI Guide for short. That's the big directors within the ambulance services. Once they've ratified it, it'll go then to the team supporting the national manual, and from there it will go into a it'll fall alongside the national A to Z. So there'll be a national A to Z for acute, and then there'll be an ambulance service one. That'll happen in the next 12, 13 years, hopefully soon. Right. My other colleague that should have been here, but she's not, Ruth, as part of this presentation, is going to talk about, we spoke before about us all doing our own different A to Zs. Now Northern Ireland have got a bit of a challenge. In fact, is where they are, across that, you know, Boris sold them to the to part of the Brexit deal. Sorry, did I say that? They are quite challenging. And then we can talk about Northern Ireland. Now, has everyone got a phone? Get your phone out, please. What do you want to do in your Google search, or whatever search you've got, type in NIAS space IPC. So it's Northern Ireland Ambulance Service and IPC. And what you'll come up with on your search, the top part of it will be a, press on it, it'll come up with this. And it's the Northern Ireland Ambulance Services IPC page. Yeah, you have a play with it after. It is super good. It's a really great piece of work. It was launched and aligns to the national and Northern Ireland regional manual. It's designed with a consultation of staff. So what they've done is they've gone out to their staff groupings to look at the terminology as they've done down in SWAS. And their trade unions, colleagues, and they brought this together. Launched it in 17 September last year, okay, as part of their World Patient Safety Day. Really good. And it's available on multiple platforms. And if you little play with it, you'll see, you'll scroll down, it's got an A to Z. And this is what they were doing while we were waiting for the national A to Z to come online. It is been operational since September last year. On the 1st of April, there's been 854 viewings of it, yeah, and 360 multiple users. So a group of staff from Northern Ireland have used it multiple times. And because it's on the platform it's on, their IT are able to actually view it and analyse the usage of it. Okay? What they're going to do is, but they said there's still work to do in it. So what's next? They're going to have a poster campaign accompanied by a video, release to increase awareness and resources. We've got a QR code to make it easy to... sorry, you can't see that, which is good. Yeah, they're going to monitor the usage which their IT are doing, and they're going to compare VOR data. And then they're going to add additional resources to that page, part of their A to Z. I commend it. Actually, I think it's brilliant. I've nicked it from my trust. Something similar. But hopefully it'll align really well with the national work we've been doing as well.